So it looked like Angel Reese is back in the headlines after another unrivaled basketball game.
Did you catch what Angel Reese just did in her latest unrivaled league game? She completely ignored Lexie Hull, who was wide open under the basket, a move that perfectly sums up the growing concerns about her game. Chicago Sky fans, it might be time to sound the alarm. In today's video, we're diving deep into why Reese's performance is raising major red flags. From questionable court awareness to shaky decision-making and chemistry issues, we'll break down how these struggles are impacting her growth, and why her teammates might already be feeling the effects of her me-first approach on the court.
No, we're not going to keep creating this false narrative that content creators is picking on Angel Reese, because Angel Reese does it to herself and she never ceases to amaze me.
Did you see that play? Lexie Hull was standing wide open under the basket, hands up, ready for an easy bucket. It was the kind of moment that makes you want to scream at your screen. A simple textbook pass could have led to an easy score. But what Angel Reese did next, was shocking.
And how one performance, and most importantly, one particular play, should send a shiver of fear, should frighten the hell out of Chicago Sky fans everywhere, because it's something, frankly, Sky fans saw a lot of last year.
Let me break this play down for you. Rose needed points, and everything was set up perfectly. Lexie Hull made a sharp cut to the basket, completely unguarded, with nothing but open space in front of her. This was one of those moments where players start celebrating the bucket before the pass is even thrown.
And that's the fact that when Angel Reese gets the ball in her hands anywhere close to the basket, she will not give the ball up. It's selfish basketball. It's a lack of awareness. And this might be the most egregious case of it.
And this is where things get downright baffling. Angel Reese had the ball in her hands with a clear view of Lexie Hull, wide open, hands up, waiting for the easiest bucket of the night. But instead of making the obvious pass, Reese completely ignored her. She turned her back on her teammate and forced up a contested shot with defenders draped all over her. And no surprise here, she missed it badly.
All right, now let's look at it one more time. Hold on. Pass it in to Angel. Look at this, folks. That's Lexie Hull. Right there. Right there. Wide ass open. Does she get the ball? Let's.
Rose didn't see it. Reese spins into a layup.
I mean, what are you doing?
This isn't just a one-time mistake in the heat of the moment. This is basketball tunnel vision at its worst. The second Angel Reese gets the ball, it's like the entire court shrinks to just her and the basket. Her teammates might as well not even be there.
One more time. Full speed. Here we go. In. Cuts back into the lane. Wide open under the basket for the shot. Angel not only did not pass the ball back out to Lexie Hull, but she missed another freaking.
The stats from this game paint an even clearer picture. Reese went just 4 for 10 from the field, and these weren't tough contested shots. We're talking about simple finger rolls and close-range finishes. The same finishing struggles she dealt with last season for the Chicago Sky are still showing up. These are shots that a pro should be making with ease.
I can't believe that. I mean, Lexie Hull couldn't be more wide open there with nobody around. Just a little lay-in. Ball comes into her, little lay-in. Angel gets an assist and plays good, sound basketball. Never happened.
Think about what this does to team chemistry. Put yourself in Lexie Hull's shoes for a second. You've made the right play, found open space, and are wide open calling for the ball, ready to contribute. But instead of getting the pass, your teammate doesn't even acknowledge you. How frustrating is that? How does that affect your energy on defense? Does it make you hesitate the next time you cut to the basket? These moments add up, and they can seriously impact a team's rhythm and trust.
I mean, Lexie Hull, she starved to death. Right there, wide open. By the way, Lexie Hull, 1 of 9 from the field. She couldn't hit shit either. But, you know, I couldn't find any blatant instances of her being downright selfish as F.
What we're seeing here is a classic case of basketball selfishness, and it's hurting everyone involved. Lexie Hull misses out on an easy bucket she worked to create, the team loses nearly guaranteed points, and Angel Reese only makes things harder for herself by forcing tough shots instead of taking what the defense is giving her. When you ignore open teammates and settle for inefficient looks, it doesn't just impact one play, it exposes a bigger problem.
And I don't care that Lexie Hull was cold from the field. She didn't do well in this game either. But no thanks to Angel Reese, they certainly lost points on this possession.
That selfish play was just a symptom of a much bigger problem, one that became impossible to ignore in the second half. How does a professional basketball player go from nearly dropping a double-double before halftime to putting up 0 points after the break? The answer says everything Chicago Sky fans need to know, and honestly, it might be time to sound the alarm.
But the article goes on to say Rose BC was on a 5-game winning streak, and another propelled them to a playoff spot. Star trio Chelsea Gray, Lexie Hull, and Angel Reese surely had the win in sight, but the performance only has come from one. The Chi-Town Barbie performance was a far cry from dominant 2020 she had just had days ago.
Let's take another look at those first half stats. 8 points, 10 rebounds in just 13 minutes. That's solid production, the kind of performance any coach would be more than happy with. You'd expect Reese to carry that momentum into the second half, come out locked in, and help lead her team to victory.
So, her game yesterday, my God. Right here, 71-62, a loss. And her game was ugly. Real ugly. 4 of 10 from the field, so we're back to that. Can't shoot from the field at all. We're back to not making layups.
But instead, we saw one of the biggest disappearing acts in recent memory. 0 points. Not a single basket, not even a free throw. It was like someone flipped a switch and the player who was grabbing rebounds and scoring in the first half just vanished.
Man, my God, it was bad. It really was. And she got completely shut out in the second half of this game. All right, not involved at all.
And this is where things get even more concerning. Reese picked up 4 personal fouls in the second half. That's not just bad luck, that's a clear sign of defensive frustration and a lack of discipline. When a player starts stacking up fouls like that, they either have to play more cautiously on defense or risk getting benched by the coach. Either way, their impact on the game takes a huge hit.
So this is what happened. At halftime, Angel Reese had 8 points, 10 rebounds in 13 minutes. She shot 4 of 9 from the field, including 0 for 1 from beyond the arc, 0 of 1 from the free throw range. She had 2 turnovers. In the second half, she disappeared, folks.
While Reese was struggling with fouls and giving nothing on offense, Chelsea Gray was putting on a masterclass on the other end. 38 points. That's what a real competitor does. Steps up when the pressure is on. Gray wasn't just scoring. She was leading the charge, creating plays, and pushing her team toward victory.
I mean, Chelsea Gray out there was fighting for her life. Scored 38 points. 38 damn points, okay?
The difference couldn't be more obvious. One player steps up, takes charge, and makes everyone around her better. The other fades under pressure, becomes a liability, and lets her team down when they need her the most.
To save the troubles, Captain Chelsea Gray stepped up big time. She ended the night with 38 points out of the team's 62 and 8 rebounds. That's why a fan added, poor Chelsea. She's really doing all she had to do to save her teammates.
What makes this even more concerning is that this wasn't just a bad shooting night or tough defense shutting her down. This was a complete breakdown. The moment things got tough, when the fouls started adding up, she had no backup plan, no way to adapt her game and stay effective while in foul trouble.
The 22-year-old failed to add any points in the second half and ended with 13 boards. By the way, she also got herself in foul trouble, 4 personal fouls.
Great players find ways to contribute, even when their main strengths are taken away. If their shot isn't falling, they create opportunities for teammates. If they can't play aggressive defense, they focus on positioning and rebounding. But Reese didn't do any of that. The moment her usual game plan stopped working, she had no backup strategy, nothing to fall back on.
You're not going to be able to believe this. the lack of awareness here as to what to do with the ball and the selfishness is it's appalling, frankly. If you're a hoops fan, if you're a basketball fan, and you watch this, I don't give a shit if you are an Angel Reese fan. You can't tell me this is not egregious.
Picture yourself as one of Reese's teammates. You watch her dominate the boards with 10 rebounds before halftime, thinking, great, she's locked in and ready to bring that same energy after the break. But then nothing. She completely vanishes when things get tough. How does that impact team chemistry? How do you rely on someone who disappears the moment you need them most?
Now, I know people feel a certain type of way about Angel. It is what it is. But Angel have to do better with controlling the narrative, because what she's doing is making it worse, adding fuel to the fire. And she does this like every damn week, adding fuel to the fire.
That team chemistry issue we just talked about, it's not just a one-time thing. Marina Mabre wanting out of Chicago wasn't some random career decision. It was a direct reaction to exactly what we're seeing now. When a skilled perimeter shooter like Mabre suddenly decides to leave a team with potential, you have to ask why. And now, the answer couldn't be more obvious.
We saw her all year last year. Chicago Sky, rebound after rebound after rebound. Perimeter shooters, just Kennedy Carter over there on life support. Nobody's getting the ball thrown back out. No wonder Marina Mabre wanted out of town. Because once that ball got in Angel Reese's hands, everybody else on the team going to starve to death.
Remember how Reese controlled possessions with the Sky? Perimeter shooters were consistently overlooked, game after game, play after play. This wasn't just an occasional slip-up. It was a recurring issue that left teammates struggling to get opportunities whenever Reese had the ball. And now, that same pattern has seamlessly carried over from Chicago to Rose, BC without skipping a beat.
We know that the Unrivaled League has been going up and down with its viewership. Some people have been tuning in watching it. Some people haven't been tuning in watching it. But one thing I can say is Angel keeping it entertaining, man, with the antics. Now, there has been rappers and celebrities pulling up, showing support to this basketball league, trying to help it get off the ground. And it seemed like the support is just not enough.
What's really concerning is how Reese's priorities seem completely out of sync with what her team actually needs. While her teammates were locked in, fighting for a win, where was her focus, before and after the game? In a matchup where her team desperately needed her to step up, she was more focused on taking pictures with rappers and producers, building her brand instead of building team chemistry.
And I've said before, guys, I've tried to be real honest about the fact that I think Angel's more concerned about being an influencer, content creator, over being a better basketball player. And I think this might be the perfect example of that.
And it gets even worse. After the game, Reese was spotted hanging out with rapper Gunna. Let that sink in for a moment. It's a clear sign that her focus was split. Is it really surprising that her performance took a hit? How can you expect to stay locked in and competitive when game time feels more like a networking event?
All right, this is either before or right after the game. They got destroyed in this game, by the way. They did. This was her taking pictures, hanging out with some rappers and producers, etc. And Gunna was at the game. He got interviewed during the game.
This isn't about criticizing Reese for having a public image. Plenty of athletes successfully juggle fame and performance. The issue here is priorities and timing. There's a time to build your brand, but it should never come at the cost of your main responsibility, helping your team win games.
You know, pivot.
What exactly is a classy girl?
Okay, now that sound you heard during that was your IQ points actually going down while you were listening to that, right? Like 2 digits just fell off your IQ points while you were watching that crap.
The biggest problem in all of this is how it impacts team chemistry. Basketball is the ultimate team sport. 5 players moving as one, trusting each other completely. But how can a team trust someone who constantly puts personal stats and brand over winning? How do you count on a teammate who disappears the moment things get difficult?
Even Lexie Hall played bad in this game. But Angel Reese is just legendary bad, bro. I mean, she's horrible. This tweet right here stated, poor Chelsea, she's really doing all she could do for her teammates. She's doing all she could do. Of course she's gonna look like the damn point guard, but she's doing all she could do.
Chicago Sky fans should be seriously concerned because what's happening with Rose BC isn't just a bad night or a temporary slump. It's a warning sign of what your season could look like. Yes, Reese will always put up solid rebounding numbers. That's never been in doubt. But basketball is about more than just stats.
Chicago Sky fans, Carmelo Cardoso is probably ultimately the best player on your team, or should be. How you ever going to find out? How you ever going to find out if you're sitting there staring at what's 25 and 10 or 12 every night if she can't get the ball?
What we're seeing is a player who hasn't yet realized that true greatness in basketball isn't just about individual talent. It's about elevating your teammates. Until Reese understands this key principle, the same issues will keep showing up. Teammates feeling overlooked, chemistry suffering, and teams underperforming despite the talent on the roster.
And all of this boiled back to when she was at LSU, stating that she don't have a problem with being the villain. Well, this is the villain role that she has accepted in the WSL, I guess, because she is constantly in the headlines for the wrong reasons.
What's happening with Angel Reese goes far beyond just stats and flashy highlights. Basketball experts are pointing to a deeper issue, one that's much tougher to fix than shooting percentages. Her decision-making and basketball IQ simply aren't at the level they need to be. And this isn't just casual criticism. Analysts have directly connected her unwillingness to pass to open teammates like Hall to ongoing team chemistry struggles.
And you see what happens. Her team took a bad loss. Right there. That's crazy. And some could say, well, you know, she was shut out in the second half. She got in foul trouble. All right, but there's got to be some basketball awareness that comes with playing smart enough basketball to keep yourself out of foul trouble.
The real question isn't whether Angel Reese can dominate the boards. We already know she can. It's whether she can develop the court vision and basketball IQ to make her team better. Will she recognize when a teammate has a better shot? Can she put ego aside and make the right play when the game is on the line? Until Reese improves in these key areas, Chicago's potential will stay frustratingly limited. Sky fans should expect more than flashy rebounds and social media moments. They deserve a player who makes winning decisions when it matters most.